What's good, everybody? Thank you guys for all tapping into this new episode of Tune Check Podcast. And like always, I'm your host, Chris. This is going to be the last episode of the year. I'm not coming out with a new episode probably until January, to be honest. Everybody's, the holidays right around the corner, what, like 2, 3 weeks away from now. Everybody's going to be busy. And it seems like everything's been really calm so far within like the music world, to be honest. Right now, like I'm not really expecting much to go down or happen other than recaps of like how artists did throughout the year, like what songs were popular, what everybody's like playlist, who they listen to, everybody's like finding out that they're all like really Drake fans and Kendrick fans, so it's funny as hell to me. I wasn't surprised about my Apple Music stuff either. Like I didn't realize that so Sexy Songs for You was like I think in my top five albums. I think it was like number one or number two. I don't remember exactly. I was surprised it was number one. I didn't realize I was listening to the album that much when it came out. And then I think my top song is Somebody Loves Me. Like that song is gas, to be honest. Like every time it plays, you already know, like I'm singing it, everybody's singing it, everybody loves that song. But like I said a few episodes before, this year has been really, really great with music. We honestly were fed. And I feel like next year might not be able to compete with this year. I think this year was probably the best year for music of this decade. So I don't know, like we got to see what happens. I mean, we do have some anticipated albums dropping next year, like Drake's Iceman. I don't think it's dropping in December. I don't think at all. Drake's Iceman, then, J. Cole whenever he decides to drop. Kendrick might drop a new album too, because turns out he recorded like around 80 to 100 songs for GNX, and then he was teasing new music, like, before his Super Bowl and stuff. And there's even talks about him going on tour again. So I wouldn't be surprised if, there is a deluxe of GNX coming out, like how SZA did hers, where she dropped pretty much like a whole separate album and considered a deluxe. Kendrick might do the same thing, or he might just drop like an actual new project. I'm not mad at both. I would love to get a new Kendrick album or more Kendrick music. Personally, I don't think GNX was his best work. It was a great album, but I don't think it was like one of his best. But honestly, like I said, I wouldn't mind it at all. I think it'd be fire. And I would definitely go see him on tour again. If it's like him by himself, to be honest, like I wouldn't mind that at all. I saw him for the Big Steppers. I saw him for his current tour right now. I wouldn't mind seeing him again. But before we really get into this episode, subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment, let me know what you guys think about this episode. Let me know what you guys think about what I'm talking about. Go check out my previous episodes. Follow me on social media. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. Takes a second to subscribe, takes a second to follow. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts. I'm pretty happy with the engagement that I got this year so far. I mean, next year I'm gonna try to aim for like a little bit more, but honestly, I'm really happy with like the progress and how everything's progressing so far. It could be a little better, but it's not bad. Like I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm really appreciative of everybody that taps in and like sees all of my reels, all of my shorts, all of my posts, everybody that shows love and watches all these episodes. So thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all. But let's get into it. And since we were talking about like album releases and, stuff coming out, there's a lot of stuff, honestly, that really came out this month in terms of like record breaking, album announcements and stuff. I did mention Kendrick's tour, but he currently is touring in Australia and is doing amazing. I think it's him and Doechii and Schoolboy Q, I believe. They've been opening up for him for certain dates. I don't not at the same time, I believe a few days with Schoolboy Q and then a few days with Doechii. Oh, what, Megan Thee Stallion beat her case recently too. I believe she beat her case or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't really keeping up with it because I didn't really think it was like that crazy. Tyler, the Creator, just won Innovator of the Decade at Variety's Hitmakers event. I think that's fire. Chris Brown's tour did amazing. Like he grossed over 300 million M's from 2 million tickets. And I think for the Grammys, he's nominated twice. So shout out to him. I'm really happy he's getting his flowers. That's the GOAT. That's one of the GOATs, to be honest. Nobody's really doing it like him. And like I said, he's worked hard for everything. Like Breezy Bowl was fire. I went to the 11/11 tour, which was fire. I went to Breezy Bowl, which was fire. I don't regret none of that. It was an amazing experience. Definitely one of the best performers we got out. But like I said, bro, I'm happy he's getting his flowers, it's much deserved. Like he's really one of the GOATs. But I know he's coming out with an album. He announced that a while back, so I'm waiting for that. I don't know exactly when it's dropping, but most likely he's gonna drop next year because he did say he's gonna go on tour the year after. To be honest, I don't mind seeing him again because it's CV. Like I said, he's a great performer. His tours and concerts are amazing. So definitely gonna catch me there. But speaking about music, we did have a few albums that were announced. LMA, she's dropping her third album, Do You Still Love Me, on February. Definitely excited for that. I know she dropped, I believe, last year, and I think she dropped something small this year, if I remember correctly. Kelly Rowland is coming back with an album next year. She's coming back with an album and a tour. She's making a film. So that's gonna be fire. Roddy Rich, the Navy album. I don't think that's coming out anytime soon. It got delayed again and it's been removed off Apple Music. So I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if it's really dropping. I don't know. He just scrapped the whole thing, but I don't know. I think it's been delayed like five, six times now. And it's crazy because they really need to study his fall off. Like he was really like, one of them ones when the box came out. I don't know what happened to his momentum. I don't know. Like it's just sad to see because he was really like on top for a while and then he just crashed down and then he really just fell off. So there's really no other way to say it, no other way to put it. But I mean, hopefully with this album, if he ever does drop it, he gets back up there again. But I don't know. We really just gotta wait and see for that, to be honest. Hopefully we get it soon. Hopefully it's fire. And then next we got 21 Savage. He announced his album's dropping on Friday. It's called What Happened to the Streets. The album art is inspired by Kerry James Marshall's portrait of an artist as the shadow of his former self. So the cover could honestly just symbolize how pretty much the streets is different now. Like for him, he's probably gonna talk about a lot of that stuff. I feel like he might honestly just weigh in with like a lot of the rap beefs that's happening, how like everybody's just switching up and just acting different now. He's probably gonna mention Young Thug and Gunna's beef or like the whole rat situation with the phone calls. I feel like he's probably gonna talk about Drake and Kendrick too, about that whole situation. How like also Drake mentioned that, 21 Savage was one of the artists that really was checking up on him. Drake mentioned that on Give Me a Hug, which dropped on Some Sexy Songs for You. Do you guys think there's gonna be any features? I feel like he might have a couple features. I think I could possibly see Young Thug there. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna see Drake on there. I mean, him and Drake are cool, but I don't think I'll see a Drake feature on 21 Savage's album. Obviously, Metro Boom is gonna produce something for him. Like they're like, they never miss together. I could see Future on it, maybe. I feel like since him and Lotto are public now, we might see a Lotto feature. Possibly Travis Scott. I could see Travis Scott on there as well. Or maybe it might not even be a rap album. Maybe it'll actually be like a full R&B album. Like I obviously don't think it's gonna be an R&B album, but I mean, he loves R&B, and I think it'd be one of the funniest things if he really just drops an R&B album where he's like singing on some of these tracks. I'm just happy like we're ending the year off with like, like another fire release, like, right before the holidays, 21 Savage is giving us a present. I think that's fire. Comes out this Friday. Definitely looking forward to it. And then another random drop that's happening is Drake and Marvel. I seen this on Monday. Drake and Marvel are dropping a collab. Not exactly sure what it's gonna be. Not sure if it's gonna be like clothes or like a Nocta sneaker thing or maybe like a comic crossover or something. I feel like it might just be hoodies. Like honestly, like a hoodie with like the Marvel logo or like some of its like characters like X-Men characters, Avengers, obviously it's going to be something related to Iceman. They're probably going to show Iceman on one of them. Iceman's an X-Men. If for some of y'all that don't know, he's one of the coolest ones, to be honest. No pun intended. Obviously he's going to have like a little tease about that. Maybe he's going to hint at a release date or maybe one of the sweaters is going to have more info about it. But this is smart though, like in consideration for Marvel as well. What the Avengers Doomsday trailer drops in a couple of days, and I'm like waiting for that. I want to see that trailer. Like I can't wait for these new Avengers films, bro. I love Marvel so much, bro. Like it's gonna be so fire. Like the nerd in me is happy. Like this year, we had a lot of good movies. Next year, we're gonna have a lot of great movies for nerds and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. So it's definitely a good look for Marvel. And then also because Marvel like isn't the like kind of in the spotlight right now. And then Drake's album is called Iceman. It's definitely good promotion for him too. And then there's also the fact that Gordo, who's been one of the people that Drake's been collaborating for a while, he did mention that Drake was locked in and working on the album, so we might get it soon. And then he had a recent interview that I mentioned on my last episode as well, where he said the Iceman finale is going to be like one of the biggest ones. So, which I'm excited for. I love the Iceman streams. I thought they were pretty fire. I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully, like it kicks off in January to like start off the year. I hope we do get it like sometime in the next couple months, like the actual album. I know it's called Iceman, but I feel like he's gonna make his way to the summertime to drop it. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. People are probably gonna be like, nah, keep it, it's whack. Drake is trash. But look at y'all Spotify rap though, and let me know if y'all really think he's trash. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was one of the things that I've been seeing, like, around like the news and social media on the internet recently about, AI and like the music space, artists on AI, how people use it in their creative spaces and whatnot. So as of now, like there's been like some discussion about it. Like a lot of artists have came out and said that yeah, we use AI or I use AI. Like for example, like Teddy Swims, my songs were created by AI, which is crazy to me. A lot of artists have given their thoughts. Like Timbaland, he signed an AI artist, and that is insane to me as well because like you know what I mean, like. I don't know. When I first heard that, I'm just like, that's crazy. Like you really just signed the computer over and like how you about to pay them in like gigs or something, like RAM storage? Like I don't know. It's crazy to me, bro. He did get a lot of backlash for that too. And he also became an advisor for Suno, which is a leading AI music creation tool. So I'm guessing maybe that bag must have been different for him to like, invest and do all this stuff. That bag definitely probably hit for him. I don't know because like Timbaland is like one of the greatest producers of all time, to be honest, in my opinion. And just to like see him, sign with it and do this, it's kind of crazy because like you put in a lot of work into your craft and then now you're like, sponsoring or helping like popularize something that doesn't really take all of that into consideration, something that gets it done really quick, you know what I mean? Like, where's the expertise at? Where's like the actual experiences? You know what I'm saying? Kalani had mentioned something as well, like, why do I have to compete with a computer? Which is true because it doesn't make sense, like it takes away a lot from their artistry and a lot from their experiences. Like I said, she's been one of the artists that's been very verbal about AI music. Then you got artists like Jid and Joey Badass who had an interview with Double XL, they were speaking about AI and what they think about it, how like AI isn't really for them because it takes away from their expression and creation. Like they weren't trying to shoot down people who use it, but for them, for like from like a hip hop standpoint, it's not right for them to use. It doesn't make any sense. Then you got Clips, well, specifically Malice, who was like responding to, some of their fans who asked him questions like they done before where Malice pretty much admitted that he uses AI to like figure out how a singing hook or a feature would sound. But other than that, he doesn't really rely on it too much. Then you got Wale, who stated that there are better uses for AI, which I agree. I feel like AI should be used like in a lot of more important things than this. Like, he said that it shouldn't be used in art, that the last place that AI should go to is something that requires human emotion and human experience. And I completely agree. Hit Boy also was asked this on one of his interviews recently, and he mentioned that he likes AI because he's using it as a tool and not as a crutch. It helps him speed up the process, helps him figure out more about his sound, which I kind of see as well because, it does take artists like a really long time to come up with like a certain track, a beat or like write anything. So I do get that from that standpoint. But then again, it does take away from like the whole creative process, like you're not gonna be able to experience like somebody making that song or him making a song or a beat like to its fullest, like and then even iHeartRadio recently just announced, a ban on AI generated music and personalities across all of its stations. And I think that's amazing, in my opinion. As part of their guaranteed human policy, which is meant to protect artists, their creativity and their real voices. I'm not sure if like any other label or anything is gonna, do the same thing or if they're gonna like back that. I don't think, AI should be used in music at all because like I said earlier, there's a lot of artists who put in a lot of work into making their sound, they're really putting in time to build their craft and stuff. And for somebody just to like type it into a computer like, yo, make me this, make me that, and then they get like a whole song, it's kind of crazy to me. I feel like that's cheating in a way. And it definitely does like, rub people the wrong way too, because like, hey, like I said, people put in time into this, you know what I mean? So it's like, damn, so you're telling me like everything that I've done is pretty much pointless and I could just type this in here and then it'll just pop something out for me. Like that's crazy. But then I do see a way how people could like rely on AI too much when it comes to making music. Nothing's gonna feel authentic, nothing's gonna feel like something the listener could like really relate to. Your fan base like won't feel the same after listening to it because they'll know like it's not you, like this isn't really how you are, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like it also messes with the artist too, having like somebody like Timbaland sign like an AI artist is crazy because now you have artists who aren't even getting paid that much from their label. Like they got to compete with a computer that they don't really have to give anything to. And then they'll just take all that income and just keep taking in that income. And then you got like an actual artist on the side who's like, yo, like I'm still waiting for like my royalty check. I'm still waiting for this. I'm still waiting for that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. And then if people do shift more to AI music and AI artists, then I feel like most of the artists we got now aren't really going to be like that big or that important. And it's really just going to cause like a terrible shift and a divide thing. And I don't think I would want to see that. I don't know, bro. Like this whole AI and music thing is just kind of crazy and ridiculous to me. Like the whole situation is insane. And I feel like there might be some other people who might jump on that boat as well. I think even what Kanye West said that he used like AI to make his Bully album that's like been pushed back like several times now. and then I think he scrapped it. But it's really crazy and like it's insane how like strong AI is and how like you could really do a lot with it. It's very scary to be honest. Even Drake used AI on one of his diss tracks to Kendrick that he took down. What was it? Tailor Made Freestyle. And I think he got a lot of backlash from that too. This whole like shift to AI and like involving it into somebody's creative process is crazy. I know for a fact within the next couple years or the next year or so, like it's really gonna make like an impact in some way, and a lot of people aren't really gonna fuck with it, like more than they don't fuck with it right now. I wouldn't be surprised like in the beginning of the year, like something crazy happens. Like when some of the biggest artists been using AI for a while now, like I don't know, but they need to like really just be careful with all that stuff, you know. I don't know if y'all seen iRobot, but that's a whole random thing that I just said, but hey, listen, bro, that's scary, yo. Having all of this AI and stuff run a lot of stuff and do these things for us, then they're gonna, I don't know, bro. That's that whole thing is just crazy to me. We rely on technology way too much, and now we gotta rely on it for music. That's insane. But with that being said, you know, that's the end of this episode. This one is definitely a quick one, you know. I just wanted to release an episode before the year ended, you know, go out strong. And I really wanted to talk about some of these things too. You know, I've been working on like my top 10 list for the best R&B projects and hip hop projects. And it's been like one of the hardest things I've ever had to do recently. There's been so much good music, so much good music. But I'm really excited about it. I'm about to post those up, you know, within like the next like week or two, probably, or closer to like the end of the year, maybe. But I'm really excited, and I'm excited for next year. You know, I'm excited to see what happens in the music world, what albums we get, you know, what artists come out, what artists gets in the spotlight, who's really about to run next year. I'm excited for the tours coming up, any rap beefs that, you know, might come up that are good. But I hope you all enjoy your holidays, you know, with family and friends. Don't do nothing crazy. It's cold out here, so stay warm. But like I said, subscribe to my channel, you know, follow me on social media, on Instagram and on TikTok, like my stuff, comment. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.